Congressman J.C. Watts is on board tonight to tell us whether he thinks some statements can neither be forgiven or forgotten. All that plus reaction to Dr. Kissinger's resignation, pre-holiday violence in the little town of Bethlehem, and the latest from Iraq. Stand by, we are live and at large in New York City and around the world.
As this new election season opens, I intend to rejoin the national debate. At the end of the year, I'm going to make a decision, but I am not going to make the decision before then. If I run again, I will have to scrap and struggle and fight for every single vote and every single delegate, and then in the general election, if I get the nomination, for every vote in the general election.
Albert Gore Jr., the 54-year-old former vice president who last time came oh so close to winning it all, is out of the running. As he said on 60 Minutes just about 2 hours ago, quote, "I don't think it's the right thing for me to be a candidate in 2004. I think that a campaign that would be a rematch between myself and President Bush would inevitably involve a focus on the past that would in some measure distract from the focus on the future." Hi, everybody. I'm Geraldo Rivera, and so we won't have Al Gore to kick around anymore, even though he ran a virtual dead heat race against George Bush that led to the worst electoral crisis in American history. The two-term vice president, two-term senator, and four-term congressman from Tennessee has announced that he will not be seeking his party's nomination for the presidency in 2004. Also acknowledging that this is probably his last chance to run for the top job. One of the most competent and knowledgeable VPs ever, Gore's was a wooden personality, often unable to project warmth, spontaneity, or even the sincerity that he no doubt felt about the issues. And after running what was generally regarded as an inept campaign last time around, the Democratic nomination was no means his for the asking. And he understood that. Here he was with Alan Combs just 5 days ago.
Does the Democratic Party have any obligation to you to look favorably upon if you choose to run?
No, I don't think so.
Having gotten the most votes of any Democrat for president ever?
No, I don't think they do at all. I think that if I run again, I will have to scrap and struggle and fight for every single vote and every single delegate, and then in the general election, if I get the nomination, for every vote in the general election.
I'd rather be lucky than smart. We were lucky to book Dick Morris tonight, our first guest, the former Clinton advisor, happily now a Fox News political analyst, and you were pretty close to Al Gore, were you not?
Yeah, well, I've atoned for my prediction that Hillary would never run because I said Gore wouldn't run, so I'm 1-1 on the season. I think that Gore would rather go down in history as the guy who was cheated than the guy who was clobbered. And I think that was the choice that he faced. The polls showed him getting 49% of the vote of Democrats in the Democratic primary. Now, the problem is Democrats are only half of the electorate in a Democratic primary. The other half will be independents, people who voted for McCain and for Bradley. And because there's no Republican primary, they'll all be voting in the Democratic primary. So he started off with something like 25, 28% of the vote. As a signal of how weak that was, when you put Hillary into the mix, she took away 40% of his vote. So I think Gore just had a very difficult time winning the nomination. And I think he felt that, look, to go down in history as having gotten 700,000 more votes than Bush did, and having been an incredibly competent and dedicated vice president, was about as high as he was going to go. And rather than, like Joe Louis, staying around until he got really clobbered in the ring, he figured that he'd pull out.
Joe Louis going and signing autographs at Harrah's Casino in Vegas, something like that.
Well, I have some career advice for him.
Go ahead.
After Bob Dole left the political scene, because he was known as really old, he sold Viagra. My advice to Al is to say, now that I've left the political scene, you're going to have trouble falling asleep at night. So I want to tell you about Ambien, the new sleep medication that'll help you make up for my absence.
Were you shocked by it, or is it something that...
No, I've predicted on the air that I thought that Gore was not going to win.
When? How soon?
About 2 weeks ago. You know, whenever a guy comes in and he says, well, I might run, I might not run, they never run. Never. When it cannot even remotely occur to somebody that they're not going to run, then they probably run. And, you know, Gore Gore had a little bit of taste of what civilized life was like after he left office. He had decent income, decent respect, a nice family life, and it's as hard to do that as to go back into training for a heavyweight bout after you're a millionaire living high on the hog.
What I want to do is go to Doug Lazater, Fox News correspondent in Washington, get some of the the broader reaction to this, I think, pretty shocking news, although Saturday Night Live was really kind of a tip-off that this guy didn't want to be taken seriously, or not too seriously, at least for a while. Doug, what do you got? What are people saying?
Well, you know, it is certainly a surprise, the timing at the very least. Could Al Gore have beaten President George Bush in a rematch? He seems to think so. Will it happen? No. Gore confirming earlier today on 60 Minutes what Fox News has been reporting through much of the day. He will not run for president in 2004. Gore's decision was apparently made just yesterday before he performed, as you mentioned, Geraldo, as host for Saturday Night Live. Gore appeared very relaxed, very comedic. He even took part in skits that parodied his own political ambitions. Now those ambitions are at the very least on hold. Gore's public profile has risen a great deal recently. He was on a publicity tour with his wife Tipper, promoting books that they have co-authored. It gave the former VP a chance to air his views on television and in print, providing really a great deal of exposure. But he says he has now come to closure on losing the 2000 election and will sit this one out. Many Democrats were quietly fearful that Gore would run. Some thought he would not be the strongest possible candidate to take on President George Bush in 2004, but he was a front-runner, and now that he's stepped aside, the field opens dramatically. And two Democrats had already announced their possible intentions to run in 2004, Vermont Governor Howard Dean and Massachusetts Senator John Kerry. Gore's announcement, though, may be most significant to his former running mate, Joe Lieberman. Lieberman had said he would not run if Gore sought the presidency. Now it's wide open. He's expected to release a statement tomorrow. And Gore, by the way, says this was probably his last opportunity to seek the presidency. That's the latest here live from Washington. I'm Doug Lazater. Geraldo, back to you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Here's what Senator John Kerry. Do you think he heard Kerry's footsteps?
No. I don't think that's that. I want to just explain what Al Gore was like. The ultimate paradox is that Al Gore in private was like Bill Clinton is in public, and Bill Clinton in private was like Al Gore is in public. Clinton was wooden and stiff and humorless in private, never make eye contact with you. And in private, Al Gore was so funny. Once I left my tuxedo and I went to a state dinner in a borrowed waiter's tuxedo. Hispanic waiter came up to here and here, and my wife told Gore about it, and he collapsed in a pool of laughter. And a few days later, he came into the White House, walked up behind me when I was in a meeting and said, "Yours?"
I interviewed a couple of times.
You'd rather spend Saturday night, live or dead, with Gore as opposed to Clinton.
We're delighted now to welcome two distinguished members of Congress to the program. First of all, great to see retiring Republican Congressman J.C. Watts. He joins us, the former football great, first black man to hold a leadership position in the GOP. Welcome aboard, Congressman. And we welcome as well Democratic Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas. She is the incoming first vice chairman of the Congressional Black Caucus. So, Congresswoman, what do you think? Are you stunned by this news? Are you relieved? How do you feel about it?
Surprised. I frankly believe that Al Gore has a lot more public service in him. Both he and his wife, Tipper Gore, make a wonderful contribution, or have made a wonderful contribution to this nation. I think they have many more years and months to be able to do so. But one thing about Al Gore, he's straight to the point. I think he thought and made the kind of decision that would give him the opportunity to still have his voice heard. I don't think you've heard the last from Al Gore or his wife, Tipper Gore, on the issues of importance to the people that he represents or that look to him for their voice.
Congressman Watts, you have this statement from Gore. The rematch would inevitably involve a focus on the past that would in some measure distract from the focus on the future. You agree with that?
Geraldo, it took a pretty good man to be able to say that. I think it would, and I think that statement, I think, shows that the former vice president has thought this through and given some pretty serious thought about this matter with his family, and he's probably done a lot of soul searching. I mean, that race in 2000 was, the closest in the history of the United States, or in modern times, for sure. And so that statement, I think, tells us, or should tell us, that he's thought through this thing pretty thoroughly.
One GOP pollster, Congressman Watts, said, there goes the devil that we knew. In some ways, is this going to cause consternation within the GOP?
I don't think it will, Geraldo. You know, politics is a crazy arena, and there's, you know, people that that participate in politics that Republicans love to jab and beat up, you know, on the Democrat side, and then on there's Republicans that the Democrats love to jab and beat up, and when those people leave the arena, you know, your question comes about, you know, what's left? Who do they pick now to, who do the Republicans pick to target, or who the Democrats pick to target? But I agree with Sheila. You know, the Vice President is leaving public office, but not public service. And I suspect he'll be around, and I suspect that you'll invite him to your show from time to time, and he'll have no problem getting a forum to allow his thoughts and opinions to be heard.
You know, you remember the movie Arthur, where Dudley Moore, the late Dudley Moore, plays Arthur? And Arthur is this multi-quadrillionaire who's going out with Liza Minnelli, and they break up, and Liza Minnelli's father is distraught, sobbing because his daughter's breaking up with this billionaire. The Republican Party is sobbing tonight because they don't have Al Gore. I mean,
Geraldo?
Yes, Congressman Jackson-Lane.
Well, let me say this. Don't, for the moment, or for the minimal, think that Democrats will not be energized in 2004. They will still have the taste of defeat that they had in 2000 on the basis of not being treated fairly or the votes not being counted. You can be assured that the Democratic base, the Democratic energized base, the Democratic regulars, the Democratic Party, the Democrats with values will not forget that election in 2000. We're saddened to see one of the soldiers that were on the battlefield not being with us, but we think we have great talent to put out and to make our case. But more importantly, those who will be voting in the Democratic primary, including independents, we believe will be energized around the message. But more importantly, we will not let them forget what happened in 2000. We think it was unfair, and we will remind our voters not to let it happen again.
Some of those energized soldiers, I must point out for the record, obviously stayed home last election day, but maybe the next candidate can get them back into the battlefield, as Congressman Jackson-Lane suggests. We'll take a quick break. Trent Lott, Henry Kissinger, George Mitchell. There's so much other news involving people with jobs or without. Give us a minute. Come back.
Didn't you say you were getting a cold?
Yes, but I used Zicam right away and got rid of it right away.
Didn't you say you were getting a cold?
I knocked it out with Zicam before it could knock me down.
Zicam Cold Remedy is different. It gets rid of the cold itself, not just the symptoms. When you first feel a cold coming on, start using Zicam. It'll shorten the length and severity of your cold, so you can get over the cold 3 times faster and get back on your way.
Colds? They're tough to avoid, but now I get rid of them 3 times faster.
Getting a cold? Get Zicam Homeopathic Cold Remedy and get rid of your cold 3 times faster. And now for those suffering from sinus or allergy symptoms, Zicam introduces new Extreme Congestion Relief with soothing aloe vera. It provides instant relief of nasal congestion and lasts a full 12 hours.
When I get congested, I want all-day relief. Zicam Congestion Relief doesn't.
To purchase now or learn more about the Zicam family of products, log on to Zicam.com.
Go ahead, you can handle it. Now you can take on the curves, the twists, the turns with the revolutionary Craftsman 3D sander, only from Sears. Its 3 rotating discs pivot, adjusting to all sorts of shapes and surfaces. Convex, concave, curved, and flat. Call now for the Craftsman 3D sander, only from Sears. Just $49.99. Ever spent hours hand sanding only to end up tired and frustrated? With the Craftsman 3D sander, those hours turn to minutes. Variable speed control lets you adjust to all types of jobs. Light sanding for fine finishing, aggressive for when you really need it. There's a wide variety of specialized discs available that'll give you even more project possibilities. Work on metal, buff and polish, get rid of rust. Craftsman makes anything possible.
Call now for the Craftsman 3D sander, only from Sears, just $49.99. Have your Sears or other credit card ready and call 1-800-726-9339.
Another senator. Trent Lott will be in a position to block, stall, or in some ways dismantle legislation that is significant to people all over this country. You ain't talking about just one senator. If Trent Lott wants to block and bottleneck legislation as majority leader, he will have power to do it.
All right, Reverend Al Sharpton, himself an announced presidential candidate or candidate for the Democratic nomination for the big job on Trent Lott. Before I get into Trent Lott, I just want to give you a bit more of the reaction to the sudden dropping out by Al Gore of any contention for the Democratic nomination for 2004 from Senator John Kerry, a man I think most of us agree is the front runner now for the Democratic nomination, at least at this early date. He says, quote, "I know this was a very difficult and personal decision for Al Gore and his family, and I respect the choice he has made. We all owe Al enormous gratitude for years of dedicated and exemplary public service and for his significant contributions to our party." That's enough there. Senator Joe Lieberman, his office says that he will probably not be reacting tonight. He's aware of the news, obviously. We'll get that reaction from him tomorrow. Senator John Edwards, Democrat of North Carolina, quote, "The senator has said all along that his decision will not be affected by others." This is a spokesman for Senator John Edwards saying this. That Senator Edwards has said all along his decision will not be affected by others. He's on track for his own announcement by the end of the year or early next year. And Governor Howard Dean of Vermont, the only announced candidate so far, will be a live guest with Greg Jarrett covering for Rita Cosby right at 10 o'clock on Foxwire, so don't miss that. So, Dick, quickly, what do you see as the race? These names, do you agree, first of all, that Kerry is the front runner now?
No. I think that Lieberman's going to get into the race, and I think that right now he runs third right after Gore and Hillary, neither of whom are running. And I think when you do the, at least open beauty contest poll, because he's so much better known because he ran for VP, he probably would start off ahead. I don't think Daschle and Gephardt are going to be able to make this cut. I think they're just too unpopular. And Dean's a nice guy, but tiny state and all that. I think that you're going to have Kerry against Edwards and Lieberman. And the one thing I want to say here is that the independent vote is so huge that the only reason that Bush and Gore won the nominations in 2000 was that the independent vote was split between McCain and Bradley. They can vote in either primary, and it was split in half. Now there'll be no Republican primary, and they'll all be in the Democratic primary. And I think that gives Lieberman or Edwards, the more moderate candidates, an edge over Kerry, the more liberal candidate.
Senator, Congresswoman, I promoted you, Congresswoman. Do you have a favorite now? Do you have a person that you are leaning towards supporting?
I think it's wide open. This is a time now where the Democratic Party has a great opportunity to, in fact, embrace independence and the Democratic base with a good, strong economic message, which we, of course, in the House are designing, and, of course, a message that we've had on national security, which is we're right with you on national security. We just want to ensure that you have the right promotion of civil liberties. So I think that it's going to be wide open. I'm going to be interested in being wooed legitimately on the basis of issues, and I think people all over the nation are wanting to be wooed as well. What do you have to say, and what is your plan for 2004?
Trent Lott, his fate on the signed panel's mind when we come back. Please stay tuned.
Hey, this one's different. It's not just a printer. No, man, it's a scan of that print. It's a printer of copies. It's pretty easy.
The new Print Trio from Lexmark. Prints, copies, scans, all for only $129. Lexmark. Passion for printing ideas.
It's easy. Land a triple automatically with Quick Braid from Conair. Separate, spin, twist. Double or triple braid your hair. Snap on the beads and get the newest braids. Do it with Quick Braid from Conair.
Former U.S. Marine, drill instructor, Vietnam veteran. Now he's facing his greatest challenge, your questions.
What does GI stand for? What kind of grabastic, unorganized question is that?
Join R. Lee Ermey.
Can it, numbnuts! Now listen up. Want to know how to drive a tank? How a gas mask works? What dog tags are used for? I know all the answers, so ask the questions, maggot!
Mail call, Sundays, on the History Channel. Ask at your own risk.
As a surgeon, I see seniors getting hurt at home every day. When my elderly mother refused to go to a retirement home, I found Life Alert. They constantly monitor my mother at home. In an emergency, she pushes this pennant, and Life Alert gets help fast. All elderly should have Life Alert.
Please call the toll-free number on your screen for more information about Life Alert. The phone call is free. Call now.
Good evening, sir. May I see your license, please?
You meet some friends to unwind, and in no time, after several cocktails, you realize that you need to get home and shouldn't be driving. Thanks to Tow for Life, a program from Speed Super Tow, you can get a tow home to anywhere in the greater Portland area for a $10 donation to Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Just call 503-234-5555. Tow for Life. It sure beats the alternative.
Don't worry, sir. I'll have you home in no time.
We didn't plan it this way, but our angle tonight is people dropping out or resigning their jobs or appointments. There's obviously a lot of big news coming out of Washington in recent days. Most of it swirling around Trent Lott, the once and maybe future Senate Majority Leader, who has been so far unable to shake the nasty scandal that started by his seeming to endorse the bad old days of segregation. And the question we ask now, is his job on the line? My longtime friend and lawyer who you know, Leo Kaiser, GOP fundraiser, tells me that GOP sources in the state of Connecticut tell Leo that Senator Bill Frist believes that he has the votes to be the Senate Majority Leader.
Frist is part of Lott's gang. Lott's chief deputies are Frist from Tennessee, Santorum from Pennsylvania, and McConnell from Texas. And none of those guys are going to challenge him unless he steps aside. The important thing to bear in mind, and if they do, he's going to step aside. The important thing to bear in mind is that it is not talk shows, it's not the Black Caucus, it's not the Senate, it's not the House. It's 51 Republican senators that are going to decide who their leader is. It's not even Bush. And you need 26 of them. And Lott has 17 that are either from southern states or border states. I think he has a lock on those 26. Now, he's going on black entertainment television tonight, I think. And unless he screws it up by saying something else, I think he's going to be okay. I think that the point is that the best thing that ever happened to Trent Lott is Al Gore. Because the media is capable of only one subject at a time.
All right, well, I'm going to insist that we deal with this one, too. Congressman J.C. Watts, this is my argument with my buddy, the aforementioned Leo Kaiser, about why blacks don't, generally speaking, join the GOP in anywhere near, numbers that would be impressive, has always been my impression as a minority myself that black people feel that if you scratch a Republican, especially a Southern Republican, what you really find is a Dixiecrat, someone who really does endorse or secretly or once did the bad old days. I just think I have to ask you, I admire and respect you so much, whether or not you believe that Trent Lott's statement at Strom Thurmond's 100th birthday was indeed racist or was as nasty as it seemed.
Geraldo, I think anybody, you, me, Republican, Democrat, looking at that statement or hearing it, and I have listened to the statement on several different occasions, just trying to understand it and comprehend it. You can draw that conclusion, no question. I think what I have said in the past, over the last few days, is that I think what Senator Lott did, he overstepped his boundaries. He went too far. But I do believe it was a sin of the head, not a sin of the heart. You know, I have dealt with him the last 8 years, Geraldo, and I can tell you, and I've been in some pretty intimate meetings with him in terms of leadership meetings, and I've never seen that in his character. He has been out there with me on the faith-based initiative, on anti-poverty legislation, and that's what I have to go on. So, but I do think he went too far. I do think he made a mistake. I've talked to him 2 or 3 times over the last 4 or 5 days, and he is hurting over this, but he accepts full responsibility. He told me just last night, he said, I blew it. He said, I brought this on myself. I made a mistake. So, but yes, I think you can take from what he said, what you took from it, what I could have taken from it, had I felt like I didn't know, you know, Trent Lott the way I've gotten to know him over the last 8 years.
Congressman, I just have a minute before this commercial break, but I have to ask you, you know, Congresswoman Jackson Lee talks about the energized Army. Don't you think that if Trent Lott keeps that job, that the GOP's prospects will be hurt because the Democrats will have an issue that they can use to energize the poor segments of the economy, the minority segments of our society?
Well, Geraldo, the thing is, I don't think that, you know, the Democrat base may get out to vote because of something that, or turn out to vote because of something that Trent Lott said. But we also have our voters that's important for us to get out. He took a serious blow from what he said here 8, 9 days ago. And he's got some rehabilitation to do, and it's going to be a pretty trying 2 or 3 weeks for him to start down that process of saying talk is cheap. I'm going to put forth some real action now.
Well, we'll be watching. We'll talk more about this. Please stay tuned. The rest of our fine panel will weigh in on the fate of Trent Lott, and then we'll talk about Dr. Henry Kissinger's resignation from the 9/11 panel. We won't be part of it. Stand by.
Oh, there's Carlina. She's the perfect employee. She has never taken a single sick day, ever. Last week, all of Small Appliances was out with a nasty cold, but not Carlina.
What's Carlina's secret? Tylenol Cold Severe Congestion. It provides triple action nasal, chest, and head relief.
Attention, the October Employee of the Month, Carlina.
Tylenol Cold, now available in new day-night packs.
This will be the best night of my life.
Montgomery Brogan is spending tonight with the people who matter the most.
Going to prison for 7 years.
But can you change your whole life in one night?
I'm going to be there when you get out, but you're not going to be there tomorrow, and it's all about tomorrow.
From director Spike Lee, Edward Norton, Philip Seymour Hoffman, Barry Pepper, Rosario Dawson, Anna Paquin, Brian Cox.
Stay with me.
No, I got to do one more little thing.
25th Hour, rated R. Starts Thursday, December 19th in New York and LA.
Stan is getting ready for the holidays. He uses his Discover card because it pays him for the things he buys. So far, he's earned a cashback bonus award of $160. It's money he used to add a few last-minute touches. Discover card. Why not get paid for the things you buy anyway?
It's a Black & Decker. It's Gizmo, the new Black & Decker cordless can opener. You can keep Gizmo in any handy spot, and the compact charger base goes anywhere. Charge it up. Gizmo's good for a month. Use Gizmo wherever you need it. You'll love your Black & Decker Gizmo, and so will anyone you give it to. It just had to be Black & Decker.
It was the culmination of man's greatest and riskiest achievement, Apollo 17. On the 30th anniversary, we'll take a look back at the dreams, the ambitions, and the sacrifices. Plus, rocketing into the future, a first look at plans to explore Mars, to the moon and beyond, celebrating Apollo 17 this weekend on Fox News Channel. Tomorrow, from politics to Hollywood to the war on terror, he brings comedy to controversy. We talk to comedian Bill Maher tomorrow on Fox News Live.
Two quick points. First of all, I'm going to speak to my friends in the Transit Workers Union here in New York City. I am begging you not to strike. I think it is unpatriotic at this time, with the city still recovering from the grievous wounds we all suffered on 9/11. You know, it's the city's barely staggering with our economy now, a huge deficit. So many retailers are going to be hurt by this. So many people will be hurt. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that to your country, to your state, to your city now. I'm begging you. The city may be unfair to you. I know you've got some legitimate gripes, but work it out at the table. Please do not do something that is a stab in the back and a slap in the face to your fellow New Yorkers. I'm begging you, and I'm your buddy. The second part, I may have misstated when I said that GOP sources in Tennessee tell my friend Leo Kaiser, the GOP fundraiser, that Senator Bill Frist believes he has the votes to win the majority leadership. Let me go back to Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. First of all, I'm going to give a quick list of conservative commentators who have called for his resignation. Laura Ingraham, Bill Bennett, Robert George, and DeRoy Murdoch, two black men, Bill Kristol, George Will, Peggy Noonan, Cal Thomas, Jonah Goldberg, Jack Kemp. Do you believe, and they accept his apology, but they say it's good for the GOP. Two-part question for you, Congresswoman Jackson Lee. First, is he a racist, or did he reveal racist tendencies? And will it be good or bad for the GOP were he to stay on board?
First of all, Geraldo, let me just say, you know, I have a great deal of respect for you, my good friend J.C. Watts, and I enjoyed listening to the commentary of Dick Morris. I would not want to correct him, but I think Senator McConnell is from Kentucky.
Yeah,
even though I've seen him in Texas, but I think he's from the great state of Kentucky. We have great,
just assumed he's in charge
great people in
of
Texas
so
as well.
Texas.
Oh.
But let me, I think you have a very direct question, because what I wanted to say is that unlike the very even tone that I've just heard, I believe this is larger than Senator Lott. This is a question for the Republican Party. I also believe that maybe his failings are that he has not listened and engaged the Congressional Black Caucus or the NAACP or the National Urban League before now. This is a problem, and the reason is because this is not an isolated incident. This is a pattern. And the question will be for those 26 senators, or 51 Republican senators, who now hold the banner for the Republican Party, because what they know for a fact is that the base of the Republican Party, the far right and the Deep South, really enjoy what Senator Lott stands for. He said these words before. He said in 1980, he had an amicus brief to support Bob Jones' ban against interracial voting.
Bob Jones University, yep.
Bob Jones, not voting, sorry, interracial relationships. He voted against the extension of the Voter Rights Act of 1975. He voted against the King holiday. He voted against Roger Gregory, the only senator last year. So what I'm asking to Senator Lott, and he may be speaking to BET, I think that's a great outreach, but I wrote a letter and asked him he should be meeting with critics as well as those who would applaud him. He needs to be reaching out to individuals all over. Frankly, I believe he should be censored. And I believe the Republican Party has to ask the question, are they truly interested in the African-American population, or are they interested in window dressing? And as far as I'm concerned, all of their actions have been symbolic, window dressing. If they keep Senator Lott in the highest position in the United States Congress as the majority leader, I think it will be a symbol of this party that they are symbolic and not sincere, and his voting record is evidence that he should not hold the position, because he has done this before. Though he may be the most wonderful person that we can speak of, he has a history of supporting policies that are divisive.
Congressman Watts.
Geraldo, just let me say to my friend from Texas that Al Gore voted
Good
for
to hear
that
from you.
same issue, that same issue concerning Bob Jones University. You know, I am somewhat surprised that we would talk about the NAACP and the Urban League and others, you know, that the majority leader should visit with them. I think the issues concerning the black community that I thought were very important over the last 4 years that I've been at the leadership table, the faith-based initiative that I think would help those black pastors and their community to uplift their community, bring jobs to their community, deliver community services to their community. we've got no support on those issues. When you talk about the tax issues that allow black married couples to keep more of their money, we've got no support on those issues. The American Community Renewal Act, it took 5 years for me to get that done. Historical black colleges and universities, I think that's important. Minority healthcare disparities, those things are important. Trade with Africa, to open up markets in Africa, to help Africa and the United States worker, that's important. Those are the issues that I've worked on over the last 8 years, and I've gotten very little support from the groups, Sheila, that you mentioned on the left. Now, Geraldo, let me go to my friends on the right. It's interesting. I have led the charge over the last 8 years, and more specifically over the last 4 years, in terms of outreach. And I am somewhat delighted to see that over the last 4 or 5 days, some of my friends on the right, that they've had a Damascus Road experience, and now all of a sudden they've been concerned about outreach. They have been nowhere to be found in my office when it comes to historical black college and universities, minority health care disparities, trade with Africa, anti-poverty legislation, the Rosa Parks Congressional Medal of Honor. I've worked on all of those things because I didn't think they were just important to the black community. I thought they were important to the entire nation, but obviously have a larger impact on the African American community. And Geraldo, most of the people that you named on the right, I've seen very little of them over the last 4 to 8 years in terms of trying to do outreach and bring about diversity and growth within the Republican Party.
Point well taken. Dick Morris first, then we'll get.
First of all, when you talk about window dressing, what could be less window dressing than the fact that the top 2 members of this administration, Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice, not window dressing, they're running the country, are in the Bush administration, appointed by a Republican, far more significant than have occupied any position of power in a Democratic administration. Highest ranking Democratic black official was Secretary of Commerce, for goodness sakes. As to the issues, Lott broke the filibuster for the African free trade deal. Ask Charlie Rangel about that. So the African countries could get aid, could sell their textiles here. There's a center, the Trent Lott Center, for goodness sakes, in Jackson State University, named after him because he got them a $17 million federal grant. The Rosa Parks Congressional Medal of Honor, he was majority leader and got it through the Senate, scheduled it, and forced it through. Voting Rights Act, he voted against it in '82, but he voted for it twice since. The guy, and I worked with the guy for 12 years. I have to reveal that. I used to be his political consultant, but not for 12 years.
But I'm hearing
no
you.
racist.
I hear the argument. I think to say he's not a racist, though, Dick, presupposes something that may not be in his mind. He may be a racist who's a functional, legislator, patriot, American, who does good things for good people. But
he's a nice guy who wanted to be nice to 100-year-old.
I have not called Senator Lott a racist. If I might just interject for a moment, because I think
briefly, I'll bring in 2 distinguished historians. Go ahead.
I'm always hearing these arguments. First of all, let me just say that I'm a good friend of J.C. Watts. Many of us are, and all of the litany of issues that he's worked on, so many of us have worked on them with him. Members of the Congressional Black Caucus, members of the Democratic Party, we're delighted to work on these issues. Faith-based has had votes from our party. Rosa Parks, historically black colleges. Those are easy votes. And to Dick Morris, might I just say that Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell stand on their own merits. They happen to be Republicans. They're overly qualified. They should be in the position that they're in. You cannot take away the years of appointments that the Democrats have given to high-ranking African Americans or the judgeships that they've given, unlike the Republicans. Let's just put it on the line. Trent Lott votes on the easy. He votes on the easy votes. He doesn't vote on the hard votes. He votes on the easy votes. He doesn't vote on the hard votes. But the real key is when he appears before the CCC and says that the people in this room stand for the right principles. African Americans are not dumb. They understand the difference between an easy vote and standing up for what is right. Republicans have to ask the question, who are they standing up for?
But Sheila, the Democrats spoke to the CCC as well. I think it's wrong for Republicans and Democrats to speak to organizations like that.
Once we understood who they were,
Okay,
and so have we. The bottom line is this. Talk is cheap. We are trivializing a very important issue, the issue of race. Geraldo, race is difficult to talk about. It is a very difficult issue for this country. And I hate to see Republicans and Democrats, the right and the left, trivialize this issue.
Okay. On that, what happened? Oh, we just lost him. Sorry, I don't know. Kind of, some Democrat had his finger on the button.
Not at all.
All right, let me bring in two distinguished presidential historians now. Doug Brinkley joins us from New Orleans tonight. In Washington, Alan Lichtman. Go ahead, Alan. You first. What about the Trent Lott situation?
My high school classmate, former debating partner.
Okay.
Hey, Dick.
Get Alan.
I think Trent Lott is in grievous trouble simply because, as Charles Krauthammer put it in a wonderful column, he just doesn't understand the great moral thrust of the last 50 years in the United States, which is not only the fight against segregation, but the fight against racial discrimination, which is so much broader than segregation. He has never found a civil rights or a voting rights act that he's voted for. The 1982 amendments to the Voting Rights Act were the critical make or break vote. I found it astounding to see Trent Lott bragging about all those African-American public officials in Mississippi when the great majority of them came about as a result of those 1982 amendments that he voted against. I found it astounding. And one more point, that he talked about how he was able to grow up from humble beginnings to become where he is today, and yet he voted against the critical legislation to combat racial discrimination in employment. It doesn't wash.
Doug.
Well, I don't think any of us know what's in Trent Lott's heart or what's in Trent Lott's mind. We only know what's been on his tongue all these years. And history will show that Trent Lott has had pro-segregationist views. History will show that if he's not a racist, he plays the race card. He has been built his entire career on a kind of racial game in the state of Mississippi, and it's only natural that he's going to fall on this. It's not fun to watch him make 15 apologies over and over and over again. I think he's in denial. All one has to do is read the New York Times, look at this man's biography, and feel the complexities that he's faced of a mother who wanted to put a bullet or have somebody put a bullet through a newspaper editor in Pascagoula who wanted James Meredith at Ole Miss, to not wanting to have African Americans at his university, to purposely wanting to sign up with the Democrat, William Culmer. If there was a Hall of Fame of bigots and racists in the Southern history, Culmer would be prominent among them. But one can go on and on. This man has played race, the race card his entire career.
Let me tell you the story about what happened at Ole Miss. When Trent Lott told me this 10 years ago. When Meredith was going to go to Ole Miss, Lott was the head of a fraternity, and the fraternity had members that were going riot against Meredith. He locked the fraternity door, sent runners out to bring fraternity members back, saying you'll be expelled from the fraternity if you're outside rioting, and insisted that nobody demonstrate against Meredith being admitted. When he got elected to Senate in 1988, I ran his campaign. The ad that got him elected was that his opponents said, let's fire your chauffeur and protect Social Security. So his chauffeur, who was a black cop with a shoulder holster, got on and said, I'm Trent Lott's bodyguard. I'm nobody's chauffeur. Got it? Two of his 5 ads were about his help for black people. This guy is no Jesse Helms. He's never played the race card. You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to give. Who's speaking? I want to give. Yes. Let me take a break. Take a break. Be right back. Be right back. Stay back.
Please enter password. Please scan retina. Please submit blood sample. Please submit hair sample.
Can your security software protect your entire enterprise without making you jump through hoops?
Ready for that 10 o'clock, Dave?
Coming.
Ours can. Comprehensive security solutions from Computer Associates.
Former U.S. Marine, drill instructor, Vietnam veteran. Now he's facing his greatest challenge. Your questions.
What does GI stand for? What kind of grabastic, unorganized question is that?
Join R. Lee Ermey.
Can it, numbnuts! Now listen up. Want to know how to drive a tank? How a gas mask works? What dog tags are used for? I know all the answers, so ask the questions, maggot!
Mail Call, Sundays, on the History Channel. Ask at your own risk.
Every time you scratch that itchy scalp, you're damaging it, and that's not healthy. Now get Maximum Strength Scalpicin to promote a healthier scalp. It stops the itch, stops the scratching. Not a shampoo, Maximum Strength Scalpicin is a clear, odorless liquid with the itch medicine doctors recommend. Plus, it contains scalp-nourishing aloe. Here's to a healthier scalp with Maximum Strength Scalpicin. Also, an original formula for milder itching.
Exercising my prerogatives as the chairman of the program, I'm going to move on. I think that all that can be said has been said.
You could pull my mic. I don't want
That's okay. But I want to talk about Henry Kissinger. Dr. Henry Kissinger, is a very controversial appointment. I, for one, applaud it. I'm a big fan of Dr. Kissinger's. I know he had, controversy back in Vietnam, Cambodia, etc. But he also won the Nobel Peace Prize, and I think he's a brilliant man. I think he would have done a good job on the 9/11 panel. He and George Mitchell, another wonderful man and peace negotiator, also dropped out for the same reason, essentially, that there were potential conflicts of interest, and they refused to divulge their clients of their consulting firms. Do you think that the nation has been deprived the services of two able men, or should we look for people for whom there is no conflict when we're looking for a public servant in one of these ad hoc but profoundly important tasks?
Well, Kissinger is a hero of mine, but he was a terrible appointment for this because the left doesn't trust him. After Chile, they never will trust him again, and the Vietnam experience. And Bush should not have appointed him. It's too bad Mitchell left because the left would trust him and the right should. The important thing about this panel is the guy who wasn't named, a former client of mine, I'm sorry again, Warren Rudman, the senator from New Hampshire. The guy who predicted all of this with Gary Hart, who predicted that there could be this kind of terror strike and whose warning was eliminated. He's a New Hampshire Republican. He's a strongly independent guy. He led the Iran-Contra hearings. And nobody is going to mess with Warren Rudman. And if Rudman reports something, he's going to call it as it is. He's got much too much ego and pride not to.
And the victims groups seem to want him.
They want him. And just like with the SEC, the story was, why didn't the guy who was really going after the industry get that appointment instead of Webster? The issue here is, why didn't Rudman get that appointment instead of Kissinger?
Doug Brinkley, what do you think? Kissinger's out, George Mitchell's out, too bad?
Dick Morris, in the sense that I think Rudman would be the best choice possible. I think you need somebody very independent, because you don't want somebody, in this case, who is going to cover up for the Clinton years and the fact that Al-Qaeda had not been properly monitored, or you don't want somebody who's going to be too partisan on the Republican side who may kind of look over intelligence failures. I think Dr. Kissinger was, in many ways, a good choice, but the fact that he refuses to divulge his clients throws him out. I think what you're going to get now is somebody like Bob Dole and John Glenn, perhaps, two sort of seen as moderates that have a bipartisan spirit that can probably do the proper report.
That'll be the most credible report since the Warren Commission, if those guys write it.
You don't like
I think there's a bigger issue here. I think there's a bigger issue here. And the biggest issue, I think, involved in this is just how tightly large-scale international business and American foreign policy are absolutely intertwined. Kissinger couldn't untangle it. Mitchell couldn't untangle it. We have the Carlyle Group, which includes George Bush Sr. and other very high officials in government, which now exists to bring together big business and government to make a lot of money for business. I think that's the real story behind this and the unreported story.
Alan's exactly right. When I worked at the White House, I proposed that Clinton issue an executive order denying access to the White House or to any foreign policy agency for any lobbyist representing a foreign government. And you should have heard everybody hit the roof.
Squealing?
This was their living. This was like their 401k. And the point is, all of these countries hire our diplomats to work for them.
I want to thank Dick Morris. I want to thank Alan Lichter, Doug Brinkley, our congresspeople, Sheila Jackson-Lee, and J.C. Watts. Stand by, folks. Iraq and other developments in the worldwide war on terror when we come back.
Give the gift of beauty and relaxation from Skin Deep and Beyond Day Spa. Let them feel pampered with luxurious treatments for the face, the body, and the soul. We've got great prices on spa packages, which includes lunch from Hayden's Lakefront Grill. Relax in the serenity of elegance. Skin Deep and Beyond. For the most satisfying and personalized spa experience. Call today for the gift everyone will love.
It was supposed to be better than cable. Service and installation was a real headache. People couldn't even get their local channels. Those programming contracts, additional outlets, it was all such a hassle. They said it was supposed to cost less than cable. Still thinking about satellite TV?
What if a local sports network was at your fingertips? ESPN Clubhouse gets you the inside scoop. Get all the local news and stories on your team. Any sport, anytime. Pros, college, it's your call. Log on to ESPN.com and link to your favorite clubhouse today.
Sponsored locally by Tonkin.com. Link through the Blazer Clubhouse on ESPN.com to Tonkin.com.
180,000 Oregon and Southwest Washington households struggle to put food on their plates. In half of those homes, someone has gone hungry all day, possibly a child. In your surrounding neighborhoods, over 600,000 emergency food requests are made annually, maybe even from your own neighbor. So join us this holiday season and bring canned goods to any Jiffy Lube. We'll donate a meal-for-meal match to the Oregon Food Bank Network, and as a special thanks, we'll give you $25 off a full year of oil changes. Fill the bag, feed a family. Jiffy Lube. We're more than an oil change.
Welcome back, everybody. The Defense Department has acknowledged that any real progress in the effort to detect Saddam's weapons programs will probably depend on information provided by defectors. But Hans Blix, the chief inspector, says that finding Iraqi scientists who are willing to leave the country to defect is not the UN's job. I have two great guests on to talk about how we're going to encourage these people with the information, with the goods, to get out, get them to a place where they can talk about it. First on board, Ambassador Joseph Wilson, who served in Baghdad from 1988 to 91. Ambassador Wilson, the last American diplomat to meet with Saddam Hussein after the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. We also welcome back Dr. Khadir Hamza, Saddam Hussein's former nuclear advisor and author of Saddam's Bomb Maker. He was Director General of the Iraqi nuclear weapons program until he defected in 94. And Dr. Hamza, if your experience is any guide, the UN is not going to prove very helpful in encouraging other scientists to split. I mean, they didn't take you in, did they?
No, they did not. Actually, Mauricio Zefferero, who was Blix's deputy at the time, he was head of the Iraqi inspection team, asked me to go back to Iraq.
He said, go home, like Saddam's brother and son-in-law.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably would have suffered a similar fate. Do you lament that? Do you lament that the UN is keeping this hands-off? If they want to go, they want to go. It's not our business?
Yes, actually, when I was one of those who proposed it, there were many others, including Charles Dolfer, Richard Pearl. The idea was that if inspection is not going to be a charade, you need somebody to tell you what's going on inside Iraq. Otherwise, you'll be working without intelligence. The inspectors wouldn't know where to go or what's going on inside. Photography, I mean, aerial surveillance is good, but it's not good enough to locate exactly where things are done. So the idea is to get the scientists out, debrief them outside, because they cannot talk inside Iraq. The defectors are afraid that, or the scientists are afraid that the inspection process is leaky, and the inspectors will tell, some of them, Russian, French possibly, will tell the Iraqi government what's going on. That's how the Iraqi government knew where the inspectors are going in most of the cases of inspections.
Ambassador Wilson, I asked the question about lamenting the UN's kind of neutrality when it comes to defection. How would you structure a program if Secretary Rumsfeld is saying we need these people to give us the info? How would you encourage that? Were you the person in charge?
Well, I think 1441 lays it out that we should be able to take these inspectors or these scientists out of the country to question them, and that really makes it the responsibility of the Iraqi government to produce them, and then for the UN, if the scientists agree that they want to be taken out with their families, to leave, and that it should be aggressively pursued by Hans Blix and the inspectors. As I understand it, they haven't even received from the Iraqi government the names of all the scientists who are involved in these various programs. I do think, however, that we've probably learned a lot since Professor Hamza, Dr. Hamza, came out in '94, and are probably going to be much more aggressive independently in encouraging scientists to move out of Iraq
Are you suggesting
and assist the effort as well.
Mr. Messer, are you suggesting that we should bypass the UN and say at latitude so-and-so, longitude so-and-so, there'll be a CIA airplane waiting for you and your family, just drive out of town and
I think we should be welcoming and accommodating and aggressively so, as the UN ought to be as well.
Dr. Hamza, what do you think about the possibility? You told me once when I first interviewed you years ago that you guys were far from developing a nuclear weapon. Since then, the country's been suffering these sanctions. You've been embattled, Iraq has been embattled in many ways, cut off from the rest of the world. Isn't it logical to assume that they've gone backward, not forward? I mean, what do you think? They got the nukes or not?
No, they haven't got them yet. Probably they need at least 2 or 3 years to get some enough uranium, bomb-grade uranium, to make some nuclear weapons. But the problem is that Iraq has been compiling or accumulating a large amount of equipment and material, according to other intelligences, German, British, American recent intelligence. And so Iraq has not been sitting still for the period, so it is going forward with the program. Now, the whole thing is structured around the fact that if you leave it alone, eventually it will be there.
Okay, Dr. Hamza, I'm so sorry. We're out of time. The news on Al Gore, unexpected as it was, ate up a lot of our program today. I want to thank you for coming on. Ambassador Wilson, you too. Thanks for watching. Foxwire, Radio.
Got a craving for something intoxicating?
Look at me. I'm whipped cream head.
Then get hooked on television's grooviest sensation.
Who likes dark meat?
Hey, who doesn't? Am I right, ladies?
All new episodes of That 70s Show next week only on Fox.
Hey, this one's different. It's not just a printer. No, man, it's a scanner that prints. It's a printer that copies. It's pretty easy, I'll say.
The new Print Trio from Lexmark. Prints, copies, scans, all for only $129. Lexmark. Passion for printing ideas.
When you have acid reflux disease, heartburn boils up again and again.
But bad as the heartburn can be, the real threat is what lies beneath.
Over time, that burning acid could wear away the lining of your esophagus, and even if your heartburn symptoms aren't severe, the damage can be.
I didn't know.
Your doctor knows about a purple pill called Nexium. Nexium goes to the source of the problem, actually reducing the amount of acid your body creates.
For many people, one prescription Nexium a day provides complete 24-hour
Day and night heartburn relief.
And importantly, Nexium is proven to heal acid reflux erosions in the esophagus. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and a free trial offer for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with the purple pill called Nexium.
You're 34, sweetheart. You should be thinking about your future.
Mom, I've been investing.
Oh, please.
I bought EMI.
You bought EMI? You own EMI, the music company? Well, I am so proud of you.
You want a piece of my heart? Oh, baby, start from the start. You want to be in the show? Come on, baby, let's go. Everybody's working for the weekend. You don't know how many times I wish that I could hold you. Don't you make my brown eyes.
Ownership. It's for everybody at Ameritrade. Everything you need to trade, from real-time streaming quotes to 24/7 client services, all for $10.99. Every online equity trade, no matter how many shares you buy. 80 million Americans have a share. Ameritrade. What's your share? Open an account today at Ameritrade.com and get 25 commission-free internet equity trades. And you could be trading the same day you apply.
It was the culmination of man's greatest and riskiest achievement, Apollo 17. On the 30th anniversary, we'll take a look back at the dreams, the ambitions, and the sacrifices. Plus, rocketing into the future, a first look at plans to explore Mars, to the moon and beyond, celebrating Apollo 17 this weekend on Fox News Channel. Tomorrow, Bud Out. New York wants to ban smoking in bars and restaurants. Businesses say it's a pain in the ash. Is your town next? Answers on the O'Reilly Factor.
Hello, I'm Greg Jarrett. Rita Cosby is off tonight. You're watching Fox Wire. Al Gore decides to forego a run for the White House in 2004. We'll ask his closest friend why. And we'll be talking to the only Democrat out there who's officially said he wants the job. And the heat is still on Senator Trent Lott. Some Republicans now calling for him to step aside as majority leader. What will it take to make that controversy go away? Then the Deputy Prime Minister of Iraq calls President.
A lot. Well, Reed Coleman, Dave Erickson, and Ron Peterson will have the latest on the storm starting at 5 tomorrow morning. Our continuing coverage includes live reports from the coast. It's tomorrow morning on KOIN 6 News Early Edition.
This holiday, keep your whole family connected with the Shared Advantage calling plan from AT&T Wireless. Start with 2 phone lines for $59.99 a month, and for a limited time, add up to 3 more lines for $9.99 each, with plenty of minutes to share and nationwide long distance included.
Hello?
Gotcha. Hurry in now and get up to 5 free Nokia 1260 phones. That's M-Life, your mobile life made better by AT&T Wireless.
Need some really cool gift ideas for Christmas? There may never be a better time to slide into Furniture Row Outlet. That's because not only are we stocked with great gifts for your home at the guaranteed lowest prices, for the first time ever, we're offering no interest for over 2 years. That's no interest until January 2005. Christmas is approaching fast, and so is the end of Furniture Row Outlet's no interest until 2005 finance offer. No interest for over 2 years finance offer ends Tuesday, December 17th.
3540 Commercial Street, Southeast, next to Fred Meyer's.
What's one of the reasons a relationship lasts?
Discover a welcome innovation in personal lubricants. New KY Ultra Gel. It's the neat, non-sticky, ultra-smooth experience.
He says I have a very agile mind.
KY Ultra Gel would like to help smooth the way to a better relationship. Call us for a free trial sample so you can experience the difference. Ultra smooth, non-messy KY Ultra Gel. It could be the start of a whole new relationship.
I've had nothing but airline pretzels all day.
Well, relax. I'll make us some chicken and stars.
Campbell's soup. Sweetie, now that you have your own place, you deserve to eat like a grown-up. There's a better tasting soup.
Progresso chicken noodle?
All white meat chicken and bigger pieces of vegetables. It's preferred 4-to-1 over Campbell's chicken and stars.
This is way better, Mom.
I know.
Discover the better taste of Progresso.
Presenting the Albertsons Preferred Savings Card, a better way to save. In fact, it's like putting money in your wallet. This week at Albertsons. Save on fresh red seedless grapes, 99 cents a pound with Preferred Card. Foster Farms Whole Fryers, 49 cents a pound with Preferred Card. And Campbell's Tomato or Chicken Noodle Soup, 3 for 99 cents with Preferred Card. Looking for a better way to save? Albertsons. It's your store.
You're out the door traffic and weather Monday morning starting at 5.